A vote that was expected tonight on short-term rentals in Chula Vista has been postponed. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. The proposed city ordinance would set strict time limits on how long hosts can rent out a property. News 8's Heather Hope has more from Airbnb hosts who are not in favor of the proposed new rules.
And we talked to about a dozen Airbnb hosts at this Chula Vista Airbnb, where many of them say they support having some regulations, but they feel that the short-term rental ordinance as proposed by the city of Chula Vista for that meeting now in progress, they feel it would essentially put them out of business as hosts.
I was completely shocked to hear that this was going through and being taken for a vote on Tuesday.
Airbnb host of 3 years, Guy East, lives and rents out his Chula Vista home. He organized other Airbnb hosts to meet up and discuss what they like and don't like about the city of Chula Vista's consideration of adopting a short-term rental ordinance with permit fees and adding enforcement staffing.
What's been put forth has been, it seems, very rushed.
A lot of what's in the ordinance we're fine with. No problem. Fines for bad actors, giving the police something to really go after.
Airbnb host Aaron Davidian says not all the proposal is bad for rentals, but he does take issue with much of it.
But the de facto ban, not being able to use a home outside of your own, these are the things that really hurt us and put us out of work.
He says the city is trying to limit short-term rentals for primary residents for 3 months, and there have been noise complaints and a potential impact on housing.
There's a couple notorious houses in Chula Vista that the cops are called on a regular basis, and we don't want that. Nobody wants to have a rowdy house next door, but the reality is we don't even know if those are Airbnbs or not. In Chula Vista, there's 253 short-term rental properties. 200 of those are single-family homes. So that is a very, very minimal, far less than 1% of, which is they project 1% of the housing stock would make an impact.
A spokesperson for the city of Chula Vista emailed, "We do not have a comment in advance of public input and city council deliberations at tonight's city council meeting."
We were forced out of business, so this was what kept us alive during this time period. And so it's very important for our family, for our income, no question.
There are 176 public comments listed, largely from those who say they oppose the city's measure.
We were forced out of business, so this was what kept us alive during this time period. And so it's very important for our family, for our income.
Heather Hope, News 8.
Again, that vote has been postponed until a future date. The Chula Vista City Council meeting is continuing, though. The council is discussing other items on the agenda, and while that vote on short-term rentals has been postponed, it isn't clear yet when exactly the council will take it up again.
A deadly fire in Lincoln Park is under investigation tonight. It happened just before 5:30 this morning in an abandoned home on Imperial Avenue near 50th Street. Firefighters say it looks like the person who was killed was squatting in the home. Investigators say several people may have been using that home as a shelter. The victim's name at this point has not been released.
After comments got ugly, personal, and racist at a County Board of Supervisors meeting last week, there is a new push to prevent disruptive conduct from speakers.
Chair Nathan Fletcher and Vice Chair Nora Vargas are proposing new measures to try and keep the discourse civil. It would ban conduct like loud or threatening language, whistling, and clapping. Public comment on items with a lot of interest would also be limited to 1 minute per person. Critics say it's an infringement on their First Amendment rights, but Fletcher disagrees.
The right to free speech does not give you the right to come down here and create a threatening, toxic, hostile workplace for the workers who are here. You can express your point of view in a way that is not blatantly racist.
Supervisors will vote on the proposal during a special meeting tomorrow. The Justice Department is asking a federal judge to allow its vaccine requirement rule for employers to move forward. A temporary halt on the order had been issued.
Meantime, Pfizer is asking the FDA to approve its booster shot for all adults in the U.S. Deborah Alfarone is at the White House with today's developments.
The Biden administration has responded to a federal appeals court's temporary freeze against the Occupational Safety and Health Administration's rule. It mandates employers with 100 or more workers to implement a vaccine requirement or regular testing starting in January. In the filing, the Justice Department argues not allowing the rule would, quote, likely cost dozens or even hundreds of lives per day, in addition to large numbers of hospitalizations, other serious health effects, and tremendous costs.
these are policies that are protecting workforces and avoiding disruptions related to employees getting sick with COVID.
It comes as vaccine manufacturer Pfizer has asked the FDA to grant emergency use authorization for its booster shots for all adults.
The third dose is the one that gives very, very high level of protection, higher than the originally achieved levels of protection, which was 95% with the 2 doses.
Right now, only seniors and those who are at high risk are eligible for the Pfizer booster in the U.S. The U.S. Surgeon General has released a toolkit to help health professionals, educators, and community leaders combat vaccine misinformation.
We believe that every parent has a right to the facts so they can make decisions for their children based on accurate scientific information.
It comes nearly a week after the administration's rollout of Pfizer's pediatric doses for kids ages 5 to 11. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
According to the latest CDC numbers, more than 78% of Americans over the age of 12 have received at least 1 dose of a COVID vaccine.
Fatal fentanyl overdoses in California have jumped by more than 1,500% since 2016. To fight the epidemic, today the district attorneys of Orange and Riverside counties announced that anyone who makes, sells, or provides fentanyl to someone who dies of an overdose could be charged with murder.
I'm joining Mike Hestrin today and the other DAs in the state that are being aggressive about this. I'm not going to let drug dealers get away with murder. It's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen if we can help it.
Police officers in Orange and Riverside counties will now advise people about the possible charges out in the field. Prosecutors will be able to use body-worn camera recordings of these warnings as evidence in future trials.
San Diego, much like many other major cities, has a growing number of homeless people living on the streets.
There is an especially vulnerable group within that population. News 8's Tim Blodgett met up with 2 activists trying to shed light on the specific challenges facing homeless youth.
2, 1!
Yesterday, Daniel Baker and Justin Litford took their first few steps on their 3-day journey. Through a combination of public transportation and good old-fashioned walking, the 2 friends are making the trek through San Diego County, from Oceanside to San Ysidro.
Today we're meeting in Ocean Beach at the OB Pier at 2 o'clock. Open to any and everyone. Come meet with us. Let's talk about youth, young people, and let's go for a walk. Woo!
Their journey is not just to walk along the beautiful coast, but to raise awareness of an issue that might go unnoticed.
San Diego is ranked 7th amongst the largest population of homeless youth in America, so it's especially prominent here. Youth homelessness doesn't look the same as adult homelessness, so it's a population that really goes unseen.
Because they might be underage, young people who are experiencing homelessness have a harder time accessing services like shelter or health care. In San Diego County, 12% of the homeless population are in the age range of 18 to 25, and many of them identify as LGBTQ. As it's a chronic issue, many who are experiencing homelessness now were also on the streets while they were young.
We're capturing these young adults at a pivotal phase in their life, right? So we have a moment in time where we can kind of get in. Let me hear it, let me hear it.
Baker and Lipford are both employees at the YMCA, an organization that has been providing shelter to young people since the 1950s. Outside of the Y, they want kids to know that there are resources for them. Calling the number 866-PLACE-2-STAY will give San Diego youths options during difficult times.
You can't tell a young person's story without understanding that there's multiple paths to opportunity. We represent one of those paths. If you're experiencing a hard time, it may not be all on your shoulders, so I would recommend reaching out.
Tim Blodgett, News 8.
It's a great effort for a very important cause, one that gets overlooked a lot. Those homeless youth, they need help, and the YMCA is working to support them.
And great to see all of that support surrounding them, especially this time of year when they really need shelter and that support network.
Good time for that walk across San Diego County, I'd say.